Ever just feel a sudden wave of anger or that little pang of guilt? And you wonder why? Are these feelings just static in our heads, or are they actually there for a reason? Well, let's get into it. We're going to dive into the incredible science of why we have emotions at all.
All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start with this big question. Are emotions glitches or superpowers? Then we'll get into a game-changing idea from Charles Darwin. After that, we'll look at your own emotional survival kit. Yeah, you have one. We'll also see how feelings are basically the glue for society. And finally, we'll talk about what happens when this ancient system meets our crazy modern world.
All right, let's jump right in. Section 1, glitches or superpowers. This really gets at the heart of an age-old debate about what our feelings are all about. So, have you ever thought of your emotions as, well, glitches in the system? Because for a really long time, that was the main idea. From the ancient Stoics all the way to the Enlightenment, the big thinkers saw emotions as bugs in our mental software. You know, these irrational, messy things that just get in the way of clear, logical thinking, kind of like they were leftovers from our more primitive animal days. But here's the thing, modern science has totally flipped that script. We now understand that emotions aren't glitches, not at all. They're actually these incredibly optimized tools, fine-tuned by millions of years of evolution to help us survive, make good decisions, and, crucially, get along with each other. So they're not bugs, they're features, essential ones.
So, how did we go from emotions are bad to emotions are essential? Well, the big shift didn't come from philosophy. It came from biology.
You can really see the whole journey on this timeline. Way back in ancient Greece, you had the Stoics, who were all about suppressing emotions, seeing them as just errors in judgment. Fast forward to the 18th century, and David Hume comes along and says, hold on, maybe reason is actually the slave of our passions. But the real honest-to-goodness turning point, that came in 1872 with a name you'll definitely recognize, Charles Darwin. Okay, so Darwin's big idea was completely revolutionary. He basically said that the faces we make when we're happy or angry or surprised, they aren't random. They're inherited habits. They're universal, passed down through generations because they helped our ancestors survive. It was a total game changer. So that leads to a really cool question, right? If emotions are survival tools, what are they actually for? Let's take a look inside what we can call your personal emotional survival kit. Okay, first tool in the kit, fear. This is your body's alarm system, plain and simple. The second your brain senses danger, fear just takes over. Adrenaline starts pumping, your heart goes crazy, blood rushes to your muscles. It's all designed to get you ready for fight or flight. Its one and only job is to keep you alive. Next up, we've got disgust. Think of this as your built-in defense against disease. You know that face you make when you smell spoiled milk? That scrunched up nose? That's not just for show. It's a real physical reflex to literally reduce how much of that potentially contaminated air you breathe in. It's your body's first line of defense against getting sick. And then there's anger. Anger is like a power-up. It's meant to mobilize all your energy so you can smash through some kind of obstacle. It could be defending your stuff, standing up for yourself, or fighting against an injustice. Anger is the emotion that basically screams, hey, something isn't right here and we need to do something about it now. Okay, so it's pretty clear emotions are key for individual survival. But that's not the whole story. Not even close. They also evolved to help us solve an even bigger puzzle. How do we all live together without, everything falling apart? This is where emotions become the language of society.
Think about these more complex social emotions. Guilt, that feeling is what pushes you to apologize and fix things when you've messed up. It keeps relationships intact. Shame, that's about enforcing the rules of the group. And that was a huge deal for our ancestors because getting kicked out of the tribe meant you were on your own, basically a death sentence. And of course, love and attachment, that's the stuff that makes sure we take care of our kids and form strong partnerships. It's literally the glue holding it all together.
So how does this happen so fast? I mean, these reactions are instant, right? Well, it all comes down to how your brain is wired. There are basically two roads information can take. Imagine you see a long, curly shape on the ground. The low road is the super fast one. The signal zips straight to your amygdala, your brain's little threat detector, and you jump back before you even know why. That's the instant reaction. At the same time, the high road is sending that same signal up to your cortex, the thinking part of your brain. That's the slower path. It takes a second to analyze the information and goes, oh, wait, it's just a stick. We're good. That low road is built for one thing: survival first, questions later. Okay, so this brings us to a really, really important final point. This super fast, ancient system is amazing, but it's also a bit of a double-edged sword, especially when you put that ancient wiring into our modern world.
We often think of reason and emotion as being opposites, right? But it turns out they're partners. And we know this thanks to the incredible work of neuroscientist Antonio Damasio. He studied people who had damage to the emotional centers of their brains. And get this, their intelligence was totally fine, but they couldn't make a good decision to save their lives. They'd get stuck for hours trying to decide something simple, like which pen to use.
So, what Damasio figured out is that emotions create what he called somatic markers. A simpler way to think about it: gut feelings. They're these super fast signals from your body based on all your past experiences that help guide your choices. It's that little knot in your stomach when you think about a bad investment, or that warm feeling you get when you think of a close friend. That's your emotions giving you data, helping you make choices quickly and efficiently. And this is where we see the flip side. When this system is working as intended, it's brilliant. But when it gets out of whack, when it becomes dysregulated, those same life-saving tools can cause a ton of suffering. That fear that's supposed to save you from a tiger, it can turn into a chronic anxiety disorder. That anger that helps you push past a problem, it can become uncontrolled aggression. It's like the dial gets turned up way too high. And the core problem really is a mismatch. Our emotional hardware, our brain's wiring, evolved for a world full of immediate physical threats. Think lions, tigers, and bears. But today, that exact same fight-or-flight system is getting set off by psychological stress, your work deadline, a nasty comment on social media, worrying about bills. Our bodies are constantly getting revved up for a physical fight that never comes. And that constant pressure is a huge reason why emotional struggles are so common today. So, to wrap it all up, emotions aren't glitches we need to suppress. They're not something to ignore. They are the engine of our entire human experience. They are this powerful, ancient system that guides our choices, builds our communities, and honestly, gives our lives meaning. They really are a kind of superpower. So the question isn't, how do we get rid of our feelings? The real question is, who's steering?